Hey everybody, this is Doc Green, the road scholar out here in Louisiana in the oil fields of Halliburton. I want to talk to you all a little bit today about different types of trucking and everything. Today I'm going to go over intermodal. Intermodal is a great way to make some great money, especially if you're an owner-operator. You get paid about 70% of the load. Some companies pay a little bit less, a little bit more, but right around 70% is the average. You can make pretty good money doing that. $1,500, $2,000 a week take home, a little bit more on better weeks. The rates are going up now because of the LED or the electronic log devices, ELDs. The rates are going up on intermodal because they know they have to get it delivered, and they know that you don't want to stay out on that. So in order to get you to go out, they have to offer you more money. Who'd have guessed? So intermodal is where you pick up at the rail station and you deliver to a customer, usually unload there and bring the container back or bring another load back. If you bring another load back, then you get paid for both loads. You get paid for going out there, and you get paid for bringing one back. There are a lot of times, however, you will take an empty out there and just bring the empty back. For instance, if you go from Dallas or Mesquite UP Rail out to Shreveport, it was paying about $360. I think the rate's up a little bit more now. And it was 180 miles out there, 180 miles back. Oh, I was paying $540. I'm sorry, I was paying $540, and you got paid to go out there and back. Now, with that being said, if you went out there and you dropped a load and you picked another one up, let's say at Husqvarna, which is what we used to do, and take it back to the house, you got paid for the round trip for the paper bill and for Husqvarna. So you got paid essentially twice for doing one trip. That's how intermodal makes a lot of their money. Now, with intermodal, you do have to, you got to, like any other commercial driver's license, you have your background check and everything. You're going to have to do when you get to the terminal, you have to understand, though, when you're at the rail yard, you have to obey the rail yard's rules. A lot of guys get in there and you'll see a light out or something, and they'll grab another light out of another chassis instead of going over to the place to get it fixed, thinking they're taking a shortcut. That's illegal. And a lot of guys get out here on the road with them, and they like their little LED lights better than their old little lights, and something about them, they grab a couple lights out of the chassis. That's a felony. I know it sounds strange for such a small little price, but the UP has lost a lot of money on those lights. Actually, all the rail yards have, and now they will press charges if they catch you. And they have caught some drivers. Some drivers have gotten a couple of years, 2 to 5 years, for taking tail lights out of a chassis. That is considered a federal felony because the chassis are used for across state lines. So that's something to be aware of, and make sure you don't, just do your job. I mean, really, trying to save $5 or $10 when you're making $300 to $400 in a day doesn't make sense. So, intermodal is a great way to make money. The hours can get kind of long. You'll be out there sometimes overnight because you just can't get back. Remember, on your log report, there is no almost home exception, so you have to stop. Intermodal gets messed with a lot by DOT because they know that a lot of drivers are driving just outside of that mileage where they can make it back home, so that they'll mess with them a lot, trying to check their log books and everything. It's part of it, part of trucking. You know how it is. Intermodal also, check your chassis. When you get onto a yard, chassis is the part that holds the container. They set the container down and check that chassis real well, because once you pull off of there, you're responsible. So if the wire's grounding out, your brake lights go out or something, you're the one who gets put down, you're the one who gets shut out of service, you're the one who gets the record and everything, because DOT doesn't understand that it was that way since you left the yard, and it shouldn't have been. But sometimes things happen. Tires. Intermodal uses a lot of retreads. It sucks during the summertime, especially in Texas or down in the south, because we get so hot down here, these pavers get them rubber recaps just come offline. So beware of that. You're going to have some downtime during the summer months with retreads. This is going to happen. I mean, they are cheap. The rail is cheap. They don't realize it's cheaper for them to buy new tires than it is for them to keep buying recaps, because they're going to be replacing those recaps all summer long. But the problem is, a lot of drivers steal the tires. So you can't really get mad at the rail station when your buddies out there running around with a set of their tires. It happens. So, check your chassis, make sure they're in good operating order. If you got a problem, make sure they know about it when they get there. Don't get caught taking any equipment off of one of the other pieces of equipment while you're at the yard or anything, those yards are high security. They got cameras everywhere. They got their own little security force out there. Their own little, actually, it's federal officers out there. So it's not like a security force. They are police. They are federal police officers, and but you can make a lot of money at that, at Intermodal. Intermodal pays really, really well. You're home every night or almost every night. It's local runs. You can get local where you're within the 100-mile exemption radius, where you work in like Dallas-Fort Worth area and never go outside 100 miles, never do logbooks or anything else. So that's one of the other things to look for. When you're joining an intermodal company, make sure that you check your fuel surcharge and you're getting the full fuel surcharge. Here's what a lot of companies like to do. They charge Halliburton, or no, sorry, let's say they charge Hub Group, use an example, 10% fuel surcharge, okay? And then they give it to you, and they say, okay, your rate is 70%, they only pay you $500, but they charge Halliburton $600. Well, Halliburton paid that 10% fuel surcharge based on the $600, so it's $660. But the company tells you, well, we only pay you 70% of that $420, they only pay you 10% of the $420, which means you're getting $42, they're keeping $18 of your money, because it's covered fuel. That company didn't spend any money on fuel. You're responsible for your fuel. That whole fuel surcharge is supposed to come to you. Make sure you understand that, because that can equal up to thousands of dollars in a year. Thousands. Okay? So make sure that you understand exactly the fuel surcharge and everything. Because like I said, we have 100% fuel surcharge we give to you. Make sure. That's all I'm saying. Make sure you know your rates. Make sure you know what you're agreeing to. Some companies will say, well, we pay 70% of the load. All right, what does the load pay? Well, if it's within this area, it pays this much, this area pays that. No, I want to know what each load pays, because I know how intermodal works. And intermodal works like this. They charge different customers different rates. I need to know what you're charging that customer, not what you're paying me, or not what you're telling me you're paying me, or telling me you're paying. I need to know what you're charging the customer, so I know how to keep up with my pay rate. And you'll be amazed how many companies. I've seen companies out here that will literally charge two different rates for companies for freight going right next door to each other. It can be up to $100 off. And then they want to tell you, oh, well, our rate, we pay you 70% of the posted rate, which means this one's $100 less, but this one's $100 more, but we charge this area $100 less, so therefore we're paying you on that. No, that's not what you said. In the contract, you said you pay me 70% of the load. So make sure you get that right. And that's with any company, really, but Intermodal is infamous for that. So I just want to let y'all know a little bit about Intermodal, how it works and everything. Check your equipment, check the rail yards, check your rates, make sure your fuel surcharge is correct, and go from there. If you need to be living near a rail station. I mean, within like 50 miles to 100 miles, or 50 to 75 miles. I wouldn't be any more than 50 miles away from one and try to work in a mode. It's just not worth it. But there's a lot of rail stations all over the place and everything. Texas has Dallas has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 yards, 6 yards, I think, something like that. Plenty of work in Dallas. Houston has a lot of yards. Rates aren't really great in Houston. A lot of low pay and low charge truck drivers out there killing the market. Dallas is a little bit better. Tennessee's not too good. But anyway, check your area, check your rates and everything, and sometimes you may just have to make a move, you know? Well, my family's up here. Hey, you know what? My family's in Dallas right now, and I'm working in Louisiana because that's what I do to feed my family. So anyway, guys, let y'all know a little bit about that. Y'all have a great one. Thank you.